So I think last week we covered Paul Ryan's speech about the inner city poor, where he referenced Charles Murray's book about the bell curve, which is a racist screed that which should be flushed down the toilet. Which should be flushed down the toilet. So
I brought my sound effects.
I thought he was just taking a dump.
Thank you. He's also our sound effects guy. So yes, that really happened, and he said the things about he used the code words, the inner city. Bill O'Reilly. He went on Bill O'Reilly's show, and Bill O'Reilly was upset with the backlash because people came out against Paul Ryan. What he was doing was what they call race baiting, right? So he was saying the problem with poverty in America is that poor black people are too lazy to work, right? Yeah. Because we've got warehouses full of jobs waiting for them, right? Even though we're still in a biggest unemployment, right? We can't. There's 3 people for every job available. There's 3 people applying, right? So even though but the real problem with poverty, the real problem with Detroit. Well, if you talk to George Will, he'll tell you it's single mothers, right? So apparently the problem with Detroit is there's a bunch of Bristol Palins living there, right? So if you talk to Bill O'Reilly or you talk to Paul Ryan, he'll tell you that he knows what's wrong with the inner city because he sees it on his way from his suburban house in his SUV when he drives down to the sports arena.
You mean
so
when
he sees it
when he gets driven?
Yeah, when he gets driven. So he sees it.
Jimmy, I live in New York now, which is kind of an urban area, supposedly, and I just go outside and I never see a black person who has a job ever.
Ever.
In any business, anywhere I go, they're all too lazy to work. You never see them in an office building or behind the counter anywhere.
No, Frank Barack Obama never got a job. He never had real work.
He was from the inner city of Hawaii.
Of Hawaii. And then he went to the inner city of Eagle Rock, California, and Occidental College, and then the inner city of Harvard. So anyway, so here we go. So Paul Ryan caught some backlash from him. People rightfully called him out. We called him out on this show because what he's doing, he's not attacking poverty. He's not saying here's my strategies to help erase poverty in America. He has a strategy to help erase poor people in America. He's against poor people. The problem with poverty is poor people. That's what he said. So this ticked off Bill O'Reilly, and he's going to have some phony outrage right here because he does the reverse racism thing, right? I'm not racist. You're racist for saying I'm racist. Here we go. You're going to love it. Here we go.
They don't want to solve the problem. These race hustlers make a big living, and they get voted into office by portraying their constituents as victims. And it's all your fault, and it's my fault. It's the rich people's fault. It's the Republicans' fault. It's everybody's fault except what's going on. And what's going on, as you know, is a dissolution.
What's going on, Bill? What's going on? Could it be, I don't know, centuries of institutionalized racism and a culture of people who only got the right to vote a couple of decades ago, whose families were broken up when they were brought? Is it that? Could it be that people were denied? I mean, people in Levittown, where you grew up, Bill, blacks weren't even allowed to get a FHA home loan, which is how your parents got their house, right? They were shut out from the American dream even after they fought in World War II. So is it that? Was what's wrong with the inner city? Is that they were systematically shut out from the American dream for not only centuries and decades, but up until even now there's still racism? Is it that, Bill? I bet it's not that. I bet the problem has nothing to do with you or Whitey or anybody. Let's see.
Of the family, and you don't have proper supervision of children, and they grow up with no skills, and they can't read and speak, and they have tattoos on their neck, and they can't compete in a marketplace. And that's what's going on. But if you say that, you're a racist. So
if not, you're a racist. You're an idiot.
Yeah, you're both.
You're just an idiot. Yes, you're a racist, but you're an idiot. A tattoo on your neck. That's it.
Yeah.
Bill, you were a racist before you said that, actually.
Yes, he was a I mean,
it's just as you say. You're punching the wrong way.
You're punching down.
You're punching.
He's mad at poor people.
You're mad at people because they don't have a father. You're mad at people because they don't have food. You're mad at the wrong people.
Yes.
These are not the people pulling the strings. They're the people that are hoping for something to fall down to them.
Bill O'Reilly once again pissed off at the fat cats at the bottom.
Yeah.
Once again, he knows what the problem is in America, and the problem is the people with no money and no power. That's the problem with poverty. If we just get rid of these people with no money and no power, things will really take off. And so he likes to do that. And, that's not just him doing he loves to say that race hustlers, right?
Yeah.
Because it's the closest you can come to saying the N-word, right? Without actually saying it. I'm sure it's pretty sweet. But I'll give...
Jimmy, by the way, on Sunset Boulevard, is the Race Hustler store still open?
Yes, it is. Hey, so here, Chris Hayes' show, All In With Chris Hayes, they put together a mashup of some of the race hustling over at Fox News, and let's listen to it.
Oprah Winfrey and others who play the race card can't back up their statements with any facts.
Race baiters always say that conservatives speak in code, but how is it a code if you know what they're saying? Is race baiting. The race baiters become embarrassing.
This would be funny if it were not so telling about our society, in particular the knee-jerk instinct by so many to race bait.
Race hustlers and the grievance industry have intimidated the so-called conversation, turning any valid criticism of African-American culture into charges of racial bias.
Okay. I like how he says race hustler. You could just hear the respect for the black culture just slipping off his tongue. Oh, I just love the race hustler.
Also, why is he so obsessed with critiquing black culture? You know what I mean? He doesn't critique white culture, does he?
He would say he does. He would say he does. If they're liberals.
Well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it would be so wrong to accuse Fox News of being racist, especially since they have Donald Trump on their network. He has a regular spot every week on Fox and Friends.
Oh, really?
Yes, he does. Every Tuesday or something. They might even call it Tuesdays with Moron, but I doubt it. But they have him. Every Tuesday. He calls in, and he is a blatant racist. He's part of the whole movement with O'Reilly and also Newt Gingrich, who has a show on CNN. We use the phrase "food stamp president."
Yes.
Who said during the election that Barack Obama does not know the meaning of hard work. They have all of these things.
Yes, Juan Williams too. By the way, he said the same stuff about Juan Williams, and so Frank. But that's the problem. So the media won't call them out. They won't call a spade, to use a phrase,
so to speak.
They won't be honest brokers. They just pretend that they're not. They let them get away with their deniability of what they're doing, right? So like when Greg Gutfield just said in that mashup, how could it be code words if you know what the code is? Well, that's exactly. It gives you deniability. You're not saying the N-word. You're saying race hustler. You're not, and then you're saying a bunch of really stereotyping, prejudicial stuff that isn't true, that doesn't take it. We know what you're doing. All right.